Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CryptoCannaVerse, a globally inclusive podcast that serves as a hub for visionary entrepreneurs operating at the intersection of four key domains: Christ, cryptocurrency, cannabis, and CPAs. We help founders we help grow, educate, and inspire within the four C's by connecting founders with investors, advisors, and partnerships. All faiths are welcome. Hosted by Crystal Wampler and Alan Lau. We are joined today by our expert panel. Naomi Granger, CPA, MBA, is a seasoned accounting professional with over 18 years of experience who has dedicated the last 7 years to serving the cannabis industry exclusively. Naomi's passion for this growing industry has led her to work with dozens of operators and provide training to over 700 accounting professionals eager to expand their knowledge and skills in serving cannabis clients. Welcome, Naomi.
Yeah. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. Bill Decker is a 10-time entrepreneur, board of director for NextChain Capital, and former Layer 1 blockchain CMO. Welcome, Bill.
Thanks for having me, and I will take on the responsibility of the bad jokes that are needed.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. We are booking speakers for May 2024. If you would like to be a guest or learn more about the companies on the show, please reach out to crystal@kennethix.com. Please note, I'm not advising you to invest in any of the deals on the show. Please do your own due diligence and hire a professional investor to help you with the deals. Today's show is being broadcast live across various platforms, including LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, with a reach of over 17K. Our strategic network includes venture capital firms, family offices, blockchain and crypto hedge funds, business owners, Web3 launchpads, CPAs, and attorneys serving high net worth clientele, investors, and angel investors. Alan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you? Thank you, Crystal.
Good, good. Thank you. What's our Bible verse for today?
Yes. I was meditating on this Bible verse, and it comes from Acts 20:35, and it reads, "In all things I have shown you by working hard in this way, we must help the weak and remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he himself is more blessed to give than to receive." During Christmas season and holidays, in my church, we always reflect back on how do we give back to our communities? How do we give back not only monetary wise, how do we give back time? Maybe, sharing the gospel with someone. And one of the things I've done over the past week was, baking air frying some turkey to give to the homeless. And I felt that was a simple way that I can give back to my community, and also an opportunity to share the gospel to someone that may not know about Jesus Christ, because the purpose of Christmas is about Jesus being born in a world to die for our sins, and that way we can have eternal life. So it's always good to give back than receive. So this verse really sunk in on me. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome, Alan. Thank you so much for sharing. I just want to say that it's also important to give all year round. This is the time for us to reflect, but, in our daily lives, it's very important to give. So thank you so much for that, Alan. I appreciate you. The CryptoCannaVerse show presents speaker Isiah Thomas, businessman, legendary sports icon, and philanthropist. Shelly O'Neill, co-founder and CEO of KX Family Care and OEA Agency, and Dr. Kenneth Perego, surgical urologist, today, Friday, December 15th, 2023. Shelly O'Neill is a multifaceted creative strategist, event producer, wellness specialist, and current CEO of both KX Family Care and OEA Agency. Internationally known for successes across festivals and concert production, Shelly has worked with artists and entertainment brands such as the Marley Family, A Tribe Called Quest, the Black Eyed Peas, and over 22 years in the entertainment industry. Her music industry knowledge and contacts run deep, both personally and professionally. Shelly has now taken this knowledge and combined it with her love of holistic health to co-found the plant-based and family-focused personal care brand, KX Family Care. with Stephen Marley. Her interest in plant-based and Eastern medicine stems from her family's background in the medical field. She has since studied and elevated her passion for natural health through plant-based superfoods and medicine for the past 15 years. Shelly has been sharing her natural life hacks, such as healing teas and CBD, with family, friends, and industry connections for years. She is now focused on growing KX Family Care to a full collection of health and wellness products safe for the entire family. Shelly's extensive background in concerts and special event productions brought her and Stephen together through his hemp awareness concert property, Kaya Fest. Additionally, O'Neill was one of the associate producers of the Cypress Hill Smokeout in the early 2000s and head of talent for the ACA World Sound Festival, featuring over 250,000 attendees and 75 world-renowned artists such as Moby and Poncho Sanchez. Shelly has been pushing boundaries ever since and continues to be a leading name in the industry. Welcome, Shelly.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Great to have you. Isiah Lord Thomas III, a basketball legend and successful businessman, boasts a career spanning over 3 decades. Inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame, he's renowned for his on-court prowess as one of the greatest small players in basketball history. As the chairman and CEO of Isiah International, LLC, Isiah oversees various businesses, including Isiah Real Estate and Isiah Imports, the exclusive U.S. importer of Sherilyn champagnes. He also serves as the CEO of One World Pharma and co-owns Green, RE3 Recycling, among many other ventures. With a storied NBA career primarily with the Detroit Pistons, Thomas earned numerous accolades, including NBA titles, All-Star appearances, and Hall of Fame induction. His leadership extended beyond the court, serving as the NBPA president and contributing to historic collective bargaining agreements. Isiah's commitment to youth programs and philanthropy shines through in his Mary's Court Foundation, supporting disadvantaged youth and educational programs across the country. He remains dedicated to community initiatives, including anti-violence efforts and educational scholarships. Raised in Chicago, Isiah Thomas continued to inspire through his charitable endeavors, successful businesses, and enduring commitment to community upliftment. He resides in New York with his wife, Lynn Kendall Thomas, sharing a partnership of 34 years and raising 2 adult children. Welcome, Isiah.
Thank you.
So happy for you to be here. 34 years. Wow. Big congratulations on that.
Well, I count 40 plus. She doesn't count the years that we were actually dating, but I count those years. So I'm going to give myself the 40 plus.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Dr. Perego is a highly accomplished urologist known for pioneering groundbreaking surgical techniques and cancer treatments. After graduating from LSU Medical Center in 1995, he advanced his advanced residency training at Baylor Scott & White, Texas A&M Medical Center, playing a pivotal role in introducing laparoscopic surgeries and innovative cancer treatments. His contributions, including performing the first laparoscopic nephrectomy and intra-abdominal orchiopexy.
That's right. Orchiopexy.
Thank you. That's a hard one. And spearheading research on early chemotherapy for bladder cancer. In private practice, Dr. Perego furthered research on prostate cancer, leading efforts in cryotherapy treatment and establishing cutting-edge MRI fusion prostate biopsy programs. Throughout his career, Dr. Perego, groundbreaking surgeries, including the first urethral cyst resection and pioneering single port procedures, have set new standards in urological care. His entrepreneurial endeavors led to the development of Cryotherapy Service Company and co-founding One World Products, focusing on cannabis benefits in stage cancer treatment. Actively engaged in private practice and serving on various boards and as a consultant for medical companies Dr. Perego continues to shape the landscape of urology with his innovative approach and commitment to advanced patient care. Welcome, Dr. Perego.
Thank you very much. I didn't realize you had all of that, but yeah, that spans a good 25 years there, so long time.
That is wonderful, wonderful. Shelly, can you tell us a little bit more about the KX Family Care brand and how it came about?
Sure. While I was working with Stephen on his concert property, Kaya Fest, which is a hemp awareness festival that we do both in Los Angeles and Miami and soon worldwide, he was always saying, there's a lot of products in my family, but I would like to do a product line of my own. And I said, great, let's do it. And that was in 2017. So we went down a few different roads, long and winding roads. There's one of those songs on his new album. And we were thinking about working like white labeling and working with different people. We just, we're very careful with who we work with. So we just like to have time to get to know people. And we really couldn't find any partners that we aligned with on all our different levels, spiritually, physically, mentally. So we just started doing it ourselves. And I've always had a passion for holistic medicine through plant-based medicines and Eastern medicine. I veer towards Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. So I just study and geek out on ingredients, just as a passion. So I said, let's put my knowledge together with somebody who actually knows how to formulate on a chemical basis, and let's try to produce our own products. And he said, you know what, you're in-house anyway, so let's just do this in-house. Why do we have to do it out-house? So, and we both felt much more comfortable having everything be in-house. And because of the comfort level and the trust and the legacy that we're dealing with, we've got to be very ginger with everything we do, because every move we make is very important. So anyway, moving right along, we were in R&D, and then COVID hit, and then that slowed the R&D down quite a bit, clearly. And then I moved to Miami because Stephen's not really a phone person. So I knew that if I had to move this forward quickly or just even more expeditiously, that I would have to be, in his face at least every week, getting approvals and just really talking and vibing about where this needs to go. And so it was the best thing I ever did. I moved to Miami 2 years ago from LA. I'm an LA girl in an MIA world. And I love tropical weather anyway, so I was very happy to do so. And within 2 years of me living here, we came out with some samples that we were really, really proud of. One of the main reasons why we didn't launch sooner than we did, and we haven't actually launched, so I kind of need to take that back. We decided to do a seeding program for a year. So we made the best products we could make with what we had, and we came up with some really amazing formulas. And then I was confident to bring them to Stephen for approvals. And once we knew that we had the formulas that could literally stand on their own, we were ready. You're never really ready, but you have to just step out when when you feel like you're at a point of excellence where you can step out. You know what I mean? So I'm very, very picky about everything that you put on your body and everything that's going out to the public, because, we're at the end of the day, we're spreading the medicine and we're giving the medicine to the people, and it has to be just top notch, in my opinion. And so anyway, we came up with products that we really, really liked, and we've been seeding them for a year. And our associate Kamel, we seeded them with him, and he helped us with the seeding program, and he got some products to Isiah and team. And then I was ready for a manufacturer to come in and help us, create these amazing formulas in a real way. And so we got introduced to Isiah and team, and 9 months later, we're here.
That's wonderful. And congratulations. I just read your press release yesterday coming out, telling everyone about your partnership. That's phenomenal. And, that's true commitment moving across, the United States pretty much for a business partnership. It means a lot. So I love that passion that you're building. Going to Isiah or Dr. Perego, can you tell us a little bit more about One World Products?
I'm going to let Isiah take that because, he is actually a very eloquent speaker. He does an extremely good job. And and pretty proficient on social media as well. So I think he does very well.
Well, thank you for your kindness, and definitely keep me out of the surgery room. No, we got started. Dr. Perego and I, he's one of the founders, the original founders of One World Products, and we really connected because of my association in the champagne space. And in the champagne space, we cultivate and grow in Colombia. Got 200 acres. I mean, in France, in Champagne, we got 200 acres there. And in that region, what we really work with is the indigenous farmers and growers. We work with the land, the soil. We actually bet on the sun. We bet on the climate. And that led me to this space with Dr. Perego. We were looking in the cannabis space. My son and my daughter were really speaking highly of the usage of the plant. I'm an older person, so I was kind of looking at the plant totally different than the way they were looking at it. And the more research that we did, and the more research that we found, the thing that really triggered me was the discovery of the endocannabinoid system. And once I started reading about that, I started understanding how unique the plant was, and how it really was put here for us to use as human beings, and really for us to use in terms of nature. And the more I studied it, the more we talked about, Dr. Perego and I, is how do we monetize and use the whole plant as opposed to just a portion of the plant. And we, knock on wood, we found a way to use 100% of the plant in terms of sustainability, in terms of how it reacts with your CB1, CB2 receptors. And then, I started like backtracking in my mind in terms of sports. So the language that we really use in sport is about health. It's about nutrition. It's about taking care of your body. And the plant really, it really works with three main areas in the sports industry for us. It reduces pain, reduces swelling, and it helps you sleep. For an athlete, and for somebody who plays and travel, and those are the three things that you have to deal with. And if you can reduce swelling and reduce pain and then sleep, now you're a better performer. And that's what's happening in the NBA, and that's what's happening in NFL and all of sports. Everyone is moving away from the synthetics and coming back to Mother Nature. And then Mother Nature has decided that, she's given us the powerful warning and said, hey, by 2050, if you don't change your ways, then I'm going to end all of this. And here's the plant to help you. So we not only do we use the plant in terms of the body, but we also use it in other products also. And circling back, Shelly, the way 𝐂𝐫 and I met, we actually met through a sister who I was taking a class with at UC Berkeley. I got a master's in education from UC Berkeley. She was in one of my classes. And 𝐂𝐫 came, and that's how we all interacted and got connected. So it's definitely been a great experience getting connected to people that you already knew and already worked with. And the plant has a way of bringing us all together, making us sing the same songs, and making us get in the same vibe and rhythm, and just understanding how love truly can change the world. And it can be done through the plant, as we're seeing in slow pockets across the world. I'll pause there, and I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Perego.
Now, as I told you, he speaks extremely well with regards to why he's here, how he got here. And whenever we connected and he really started looking at what we were doing in Colombia, he convinced me. I'd actually reached out to him and said, hey, listen, I need some help identifying some board members, some senior leadership, maybe a CEO. And that's whenever he came back and he told me about it. Look, the champagne that we do, we're already doing all the genetics. We're already dealing with controlled substances. We're already importing and exporting. We're dealing with the governments. I think this is a similar pathway. And he was absolutely right. So we're really excited to be able to push the company forward, not only working with KX family and being able to produce their products, but also just like Isaiah was saying, this plant is multifunctional. We use it on a bunch of different levels. We just filed some patents for bioplastic formation, the process that allows us to convert the herd to the bioplastics. We look at the benefits of remediation of the land where we're growing it. We look at the benefits of CO2 sequestration because of the plant. And then, of course, the really thing that drives me, the reason that I got involved as a urologic oncologist dealing mainly with advanced prostate cancer, patients who were dying from their cancer, they did better when they were taking cannabis. They had less pain, they functioned better. And I'm very similar to Isaiah, ultra conservative gentleman. I grew up in the Baptist Belt, or I guess they call it the Bible Belt down here where I'm at, a lot of Baptists. So
Yeah.
I've never really partaken of the cannabis plant, but I could see the benefits. So I started working with LSU, created the LSU program for Louisiana State University as well as Southern University, and recognized real quick that the United States was most probably not the best place for us to do business because of the legalization issues. And that's why we reached out to Colombia, where it is legal. And it has truly allowed us to expand in a way that I never dreamed of. The benefits of, as Isaiah refers to, the equatorial benefits of Colombia. It is the absolute perfect growing place for this product. And we're excited to be able to participate in these programs and be able to actually put good products out and work with KX family.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Bill, you have a question?
Yes, for Isaiah. When you were playing basketball for the Lakers, I told you I do bad jokes. One of your calling cards was these records you were setting in assists.
Yeah.
How does this whole idea of being someone who assists and gets almost behind the scenes a little bit translate to what you're doing with these companies?
That's a great analogy, and that's a great question. Helping others, being the captain or the leader of the team, being the point guard means that your job is truly to assist others and to help others look good and then get sincere fulfillment and enjoyment out of helping someone else look good or play better or assist them. But then you move into the business space, and that's the same way I try to lead and run an organization. And that's the benefits of this plant. It definitely assists in making sure that people are healthy, pain-free, living a good life. And then every now and then you get a chance to smile and laugh. And I couldn't think of a better way to not only help change the world, but also help introduce this plant in a very holistic and spiritual way to others who may have a different view and perception of it.
Thank you, Bill. Great question. We have another question, Amanda.
My question is going back to what Dr. Perego was saying. You said that people are now recognizing that cannabis is helping people through chemo. And I don't know a lot of doctors. So from your perspective and people do you see that now it's not as taboo to recommend and prescribe or ask them to seek out cannabis to help them through these scenarios?
I think since we brought it into the mainstream, we recognize that people utilize it more. I don't know if it's really condoned yet. There are a lot of physicians that don't feel comfortable with it. We know that there are some issues associated with cannabis. Specifically, you got to get these products tested. It's really important to make sure that you're putting good stuff in your body. And just touching base on that and touching base on what Shelly's doing, what the KX family's doing. We don't work with very many people. We are very selective in who we're going to produce products for and who we're going to deal with. And a lot of that has to do with purity issues. We want to make sure that we're putting out products that aren't going to harm patients, that aren't going to cause a problem. And so the biggest concern in the medical community, I would say, is contaminants, making sure that you're getting an appropriate product that's been tested appropriately and is not associated with heavy metals, pesticides, or bacteria, for example. But it's definitely been a wider acceptance over the past 3 to 4 years. You're seeing it move quicker. It's almost exponential, the number of physicians that are opening up to it. So I'm excited to see where we'll be in 3 or 4 years from now as we do more research. And research is critical. From a science standpoint, we've broken down this plant into 7 different clusters. And in those 7 clusters, we know that some of them help with inflammation, some of them help with nausea, some of them help with appetite, some of them are actually appetite suppressants. We also know that some of them are cytotoxic to cancer cells. So there really are benefits to this. And we put out a white paper through one of the groups that I work with that looks at the olfactory nerves and how that upregulates the receptors within the endocannabinoid system. There is truly a system here that works not only off of the CBD components, but also the terpenes. That's the other part that I think is critically important to remember, that these work in combination, and it was created in a way that we're just now starting to learn about. I hope that was okay.
That was a great.
That was amazing. I had no idea. I did so many things. No, thank you.
But when you walk in and you smell your grandmother's apple pie, you know how that makes you salivate and just it does things? The same exact thing occurs whenever you smell a certain terpene. It actually has a different effect. We're actually identifying that some of these terpenes are just as effective as some of the CBD products. And when you use them in combination with each other, they're synergistic. They improve the overall effect. So we're really excited about really exploring all of those avenues.
1 minute, Bill. Yes,
Sure.
I would like to, note that when I would go in to pick up my medical cannabis, back in the day, you were able to smell it. And so I would go and I would smell each and every one, and whatever one smelt the best that at that moment is the one that I would use. And so, but now you can't smell the product. It's all, labeled up and packed up. So I think that's kind of doing a little bit of a disservice to everyone, but they are getting better at creating the actual cultivars and keeping that that a lot better. But okay, so I just wanted to make that comment. Bill, did you have a question?
So I like to brag about the fact that I went to Harvard Medical School. Now I only went for a weekend, but I did go. I think that's important. No, you've got a whole bunch of believers on the show, and you've got a whole bunch of believers listening to the show. So I don't know how do we deliver this message to the medical community? Who's going to bridge that gap and convince regular dyed-in-the-wool physicians that this stuff actually works? Is that going to be someone like you, or is that going to be someone like Isiah?
Volunteer Crystal.
Let me jump in, Doc, and I would accept the volunteer of Crystal also. But I believe the way this is kind of moving, I do think the sports community is going to play a big role in terms of normalizing and educating the benefits of the plant. And as Doc so eloquently spoke about the endocannabinoid system, for us who were playing, before this discovery in the early 90s, had we been given a choice, and had we known as athletes that we didn't have to take the synthetic pills to reduce swelling, to reduce pain, so forth and so on. You didn't have to, drown yourself, in some type of painkillers or some type of alcohol to be ready for the next day. I think where the modern day athlete is at now is understanding that, hey, using this plant correctly, if it reduces the pain and the swelling and it allows me to sleep, And sleep deprivation, in the sports community is widely studied.
Right.
And the use of the plant right now is really coming into play. In some leagues are even going as far as saying they won't even test anymore for the uses of the plant, and that's the NBA. So I do think that the sports community, from a verbal and voicing standpoint, is going to be one of the leaders and has been one of the leaders. And also in the NFL. I'll pause, Doc, and let you finish.
No, I agree. I think that that's going to be critical. They're going to really push the envelope. The inflammation associated with this, with the gels and the creams that are being utilized, and these top quality creams. The Marley family, KX family, has put out some really good products that help with inflammation. Isiah really pointed out, he says, you take that long trip across the nation and you get off of a plane and you have that jet lag, and it's really difficult to recover.
Right.
Well, we do it 82 times a year.
Yeah.
We're on a plane, we're staying up late, we're getting up early, we're traveling. It is really brutal on our bodies. We have got to find a way to improve how we recover. So if we look at how we can recover these athletes, how we can recover cancer patients, people that are really having issues and problems, chronic pain, we can decrease narcotic use. We can decrease benzodiazepines, which are so difficult to get off once you're addicted to them.
Yeah.
We talk about sleep. This allows us to really replace a lot of those items and make a huge impact. That's what's going to truly benefit the medical community, and that's where you're going to see the physicians adopting this a little bit better when they can see that they're not having as many addicted patients on narcotics, and the government is not necessarily the best proponent for these things. The government 10 years ago told us that we had to make sure that nobody had pain when we did surgery on them, 20 years ago. And look at how many patients we have that are addicted to narcotics. So this is a absolutely fantastic pathway to be able to reverse that.
I see 4 pillars in this community, and the first is the consumer. I tried it worked, right? I've tried Shelly's product, it works. Then there's the physicians, you guys, the standard guys, right? With the degrees of names we know. Then the evangelists, I see that as the Isiah Thomases of the world. And then there's one other community that has to be convinced, and that's the insurance community. My uncle's an ophthalmologist. I said, would you prescribe cannabis? He said, I'd love to, but I'm not insured for it. And that was his big line. He said, telling someone to buy $10 worth of marijuana could actually cost me my entire practice. Someone's got to go after those guys, and it's got to be a kind of a combination of the docs and the Isiahs with consumer pressure.
Yeah, Bill, I would have to agree with you. They definitely need more insurance products, but there are things like captive insurance, PPLI. There are things out there that can help companies with the insurance issues. But you know what? I would like to know, are we ever going to see your products in the NBA? Do you think that they'll pick it up? What's the DL on that?
We have several teams actually using our product now, some of our creams, and there's no THC in it. Doc, I'll let you speak to some of the benefits, but we have several teams that have actually tried the product, using our product. Some Olympic athletes that are using the product. So we're pretty far along and pretty far advanced, and extremely confident in the relief, in the belief of our products.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that, Dr. Perego.
In the international community, we're actually working with the Olympic committees internationally. The difficulty is you can't ship that into the United States, and no THC, and they're testing it for recovery, and we're really excited about some of those results. And then of course, listen, we've looked at tons of products from tons of different individuals, tons of different groups, and I have to impress that the products that 𝐂𝐥 family had put out are amazing. They really are. They're good formulations. They're pure. They are well received. A lot of these that we're utilizing to test these athletes and to be able to use them in the NBA, we're going through the appropriate channels. We're going through the channels that are necessary for us to get them approved. But we are having extremely positive feedback, and they're reordering. They're saying, "Hey, we need more of this. We want to have more of this." Decreasing the inflammation, getting that pain and that discomfort out, and really the recovery that's necessary after you go out and kill yourself for an hour on the court. It's crazy. How many minutes are in a game? 48?
They say 48, but the game lasts 2.5 hours. But it's a 48-minute game.
I just wanted to put that out there to make sure everybody knew I knew how many minutes were in the game.
Yeah, game starts at 7:30 and it ends about like 9:30, right? And 9:30, 9:45, and they go, "Oh yeah, we played 48 minutes." And I'm like, this math ain't making sense to me, but okay. The other thing I go ahead.
I would, when Isaiah finishes, I would love to get Shelly back in this conversation, because she really talks about the other components, not just the CBD components, the other components that help with rejuvenation as well. That's important because she's got some really good products in there. And I think we're going to find that a lot of these products, that our relationship, that we've got this good relationship now that we're going to be able to put out, they're going to be amazing.
I like to
go ahead,
bring up
Shelly, please.
Analogy, actually, because of our guest of honor here. For me, and how I like to explain it in layman's terms, because it's really important to have the audience understand in bite-sized pieces, because nobody has the bandwidth anymore to really dig into research how we love and what we do. So I like to say the ingredients we put in our products are like the all-star team. It's superfoods, it's super seeds, and of course it's like, you know, the Isiah Thomas, it's the CBD, it's the CBN. And we put the best of the best and we formulate them together. And it's what I like to say, truly natural, because, you know, there's so many people, natural, wink, wink, and there's all these ingredients that you can't even pronounce, let alone understand what they are. So when you look at our packaging, you'll know what is in our products. You'll be like, oh, turmeric, black pepper, soursop. And we actually put the benefits of every ingredient on our website, because one of our pillars is education, but we want you to understand what's going on in your body. And also your body is the biggest organ you have. It goes right to your bloodstream. And on top of that, it can also be a barrier too. So you really have to know what you're putting on your body, and your everyday habits. We like to say everyday products for everyday people. Your everyday habits build your whole life. And I'm sure Isiah can attest to that more than anybody. Your everyday habits create your lifestyle. And this is a lifestyle, and it's a healthy lifestyle. And it goes from, I like to say, from baby to grandma. You know, like Bob Marley said, once a man, twice a child. Like, we need to really make sure the family is covered and that these healthy habits are ingrained in everybody as a lifestyle.
You know, before we have Anthony ask his question, I just want to say that your KX CBD muscle rub is amazing. It's packaged extremely well. It smells beautifully and it feels great. I was having some really bad sore muscles yesterday. I put it on and it felt so good. I absolutely love it. It's not greasy. So thank you so much for sending that to me. I very much appreciate it. And we're going to go ahead and go to Anthony Fino he's going to ask a question, and then we're going to get into finding out about what kind of investors, advisors, and partnerships you all are looking for.
Hey, everybody. Nice to be here with you again on the show. Shelly, I'm so happy to see you here. I've known Shelly for many years now, and I think that knowing what goes into KX Family Care products says a lot about One World. And that alone gives a lot of credibility to One World. And so I'm already impressed. But being someone who owns a business outside of the country, I know it can be very difficult to run businesses outside of the country, especially if you're accustomed to business in the United States, which is quite different. And so the questions that I have, and you may have covered this earlier, I apologize, I came a little bit late, but I'm curious about what One World's plans are for their export business to the United States, when and if that happens, and how you're planning to navigate FDA parameters, etc., to be able to distribute One World products in the United States?
So, Doc, I'll take the first part of it. I'll let you speak to the FDA portion of it. My experiences in running businesses outside of the United States. I'm a co-founder of the Toronto Raptors, the first team that still sits outside of the U.S. and Canada. I operate and do business in France with the French government, the Canadian government, and doing business in Colombia. I've found it that it's not only refreshing, but it's also inspiring, because we're at the pioneering stage of bringing this plant into the world, and Colombia being the place to introduce it, the best place to grow it, but not only the best place to grow it, but the environment is friendly, and we look at Colombia now and we say, if those of you who are old enough on this podcast or on this Zoom, if you can remember Miami in the early 80s, and what the perception of Miami in the early 80s, it was very similar to what you would see in the Narcos movie with Colombia. But now when you think of Miami, the first thing you think of is South Beach. You don't think of what it used to be like in the 80s. Well, that's where Colombia is at now. We have more people vacationing in Colombia, going to Colombia. It is really the happening spot. And those who are still stuck in the 80s and still thinking of Colombia in the 80s and the 90s are the same people who think of Miami in the 80s and the 90s, but don't really realize that there's, a whole generation of people that's come, and the community and the whole landscape has changed. So the equatorial benefits, the people benefits, the working with the plant, the working with the indigenous farmers and growers, it's on the THC side, Latin America and Europe, it's further along than the US. So from a distribution of product side, and working in the international community myself and having that experience, I know where the plant is at. I know the usage of the plant. And not only do I know the usage of it, but I also know what the governments are asking for in other countries that are different here in the US. So the bet that we made is that we would look at the whole world. That's why we call One World products, because we look at the whole world in terms of distributing and selling products. And there are different geographical areas that will open up at different periods of time. The US is slow to open up. More countries are using the product and benefiting from the product and reducing CO2 levels, sustainability, environmental friendly, and everything else, more so than the US is right now. But our bet is that the US will catch up. And that leads me to Doc and FDA and speaking on the regulations. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I think Isiah laid it out very, very clearly. The 𝐂𝐫 for South America is right at $20 billion over the next 5 years. The 𝐂𝐫 for the European Union is about the same thing, right at $20 billion for the next 5 years. Those markets dwarf what the U.S. market is. So if you're looking at, are we going to be successful through importation into the United States is actually irrelevant with regards to the business argument. The international market is much larger. The South American market is much larger. The FDA, they've got to finalize some rules, and we've got to get this legalized. And I think once it's legalized, what you're going to find is we will be able to provide all of the product for North America, and we will be able to be very competitive. The cost of production in Colombia is a fraction of what it is in the United States. We can produce 365 days a year. We have the perfect growing climate. 8,000 millimoles is what this plant needs in order to be able to grow optimally. You can't do that inside a grow, inside a warehouse. It's physically impossible without burning the plant and destroying part of it to actually make it work that way. Cost of production, fair living wage in Colombia, critically important. We have partnered with the indigenous people of Colombia. We really work with them. We pay a fair wage. $8,000 is a fair living wage with regards to cost of labor in Colombia per year. The United States can't compete with that. And then if you look at Colombia in general, which Isiah has really pointed to, it's a member of the OECD now. It took 5 years to be able to get that status. They're the largest trading partner with the United States in South America. They actually have a trading deficit. So that means that they import more products from the United States than they export. 2/3 of all the cut flowers for North America come from Colombia every day. It's a wonderful trading partner, and this is going to allow for equalization of that trade and improve relations even that much further. We're really focused on the European Union. We're focused on Malta. We've made drugs in Malta in the past, generic drugs. That is the generic drug capital of the world. Actually taking this a step further, talking about the science, taking the components of the plant and actually putting them into generic drugs and making new drugs and doing non-inferiority studies, which are super simple to do. So we'll be able to actually capture those markets. I can't answer when the government is going to legalize it here. It has to be federally legal in order for us to really take the time and effort to import any type of THC product. Now, the CBD products, the products that we can put in the creams and gels, absolutely, we can import that. But the cost of importation and the rules and regulations that the government has in the United States, it's like what we said earlier. Whenever I did the LSU project, I looked around and I said, we don't need to do business here. We need to do business in South America. It's much more friendly. The cost of actually importing it, there's not a huge benefit right now the way it's set up.
Thank you for answering that. We have just about 10 minutes left, so I really want to buckle down and find out what kind of investors, advisors, and partnerships you guys are looking for. Let's start with Shelly and the KX brand.
Hi. I feel we have a whole team that works with investment, and we have a few really amazing advisors. Actually, Anthony Fino is one of them. He just asked the question along with Jason White. And we're really open right now to strategic partnerships, people that really make sense, that understand the Colombian market would be obviously ideal, that understand the also the need. I say there's a great need for the products there. There's an open market that are ready and willing to accept these products too. So I think that's important, that obviously there's a demand, so we can fulfill the demand, people that understand how to fill demand in other countries. And then obviously our partners are all-star, best in show. So I'm in really great company. I'm humbled actually. And so people that really understand the Colombian market, because we're really going to focus on that right now with our new partners. And strategic, it's always about strategic alignment and goals and personalities, really. It's really about great personality. It's good energy, people that are positive, people that look for solutions rather than problems. You know, it's got to be balanced. And like Steven says, the music is the foundation, and that's the healing force of our company. So any people that are really in frequency with us and in our mission, and then also see the wide mission. One of the things I think is really interesting is that Isiah and Steven, which need to get together and talk a lot more, but their goals are so similar. And when I saw that they're even down to the plastics, down to the hemp plastics, because all our packaging is eventually going to be hemp plastic as well. That's our main goal. And Steven's goal is to replace plastics with hemp plastic. And I know that's one of Isiah's goals. So this partnership, I think, is just really a dream come true, like a dream team. So definitely strategic partners, to answer your question, and people that understand the Colombian market would be ideal and understand what we're doing here with our partners.
Wonderful. Are you raising capital?
Yes, we are.
How much are you looking to raise?
Right now, for the overall whole KX, we're looking to raise 2 million. We already, thanks to God, got some investment in recently. So there's some really good things happening. And we need to raise for another vertical, which is the skincare. But we have a gummy vertical that we raised for that's coming out, that we're doing with One World, that we're very excited about.
Wonderful. Congratulations. For our viewers, where can they reach out to you to look at your deck and talk more about your investment opportunity?
Sure. Just Shelly, that's SHELLY at kxfamilycare.com. And KX Family Care is a vertical of 𝐂𝐤 Lifestyle, which is the complete overall lifestyle brand that Stephen owns, and we are a vertical of that.
Wonderful. And again, I just want to say how brilliant it was for you to bring both Isiah and the Marley family together. It's just wonderful. Congratulations. I'm so excited for you, Shelly. And then going to Isiah and Dr. Perego, what kind of investors, advisors, and partnerships are you guys currently looking for?
Well, I can jump on that if that's okay, Isiah.
Okay.
We are a publicly traded company, so we're on the OTC. We have audited returns. You can see all of our filings on the website, oneworldproducts.com, and we have investor relations links there as well. We have two sets of investors. So if you look at our long-term plans, our goal is to formalize a $10 million raise. And that's really whenever we start looking at the bioplastics and producing products for Stellantis. We are actually pretty far along on that pathway. We have, through Isiah's work and efforts, we've actually been given certain components and parts on the Jeep vehicle to actually produce bioplastic components. So we're really excited about that part. But that's more of a longer term goal. Our initial raise is $2 million, and really and truly that initial raise is focused on making sure that we can get our production facilities up. Like Shelly alluded to, we want to make sure that we expand the free trade zone where we're at. We just signed some agreements that will allow us to be some of the largest producers of products, cannabis, marijuana-infused products in the world. And so we would be expanding on some production facilities there. And then we have that intermediate goal, which is really focused on the long term, the bioplastics and the automotive industry. But $2 million, small investors are more than welcome to reach out and touch base. And then, of course, we always want to make sure that we identify strategic investors. We're so excited about what we've done with Stephen and Shelly. I agree with Shelly. I think bringing Stephen and Isiah together was truly a fortuitous moment and well thought out by her. She saw the vision, and I think it's gonna work extremely well. Isiah, did I miss anything? Do you need to add anything?
The only one thing I would add, you didn't miss anything. I just want to add this. When we talk about Colombia and manufacturing, we're building one of the largest manufacturing facilities down there. And as all of you know who deal with the plant, extraction is the key. And the way that we extract and the way we use the plant and the uses of the plant is pretty unique. The other thing, when you fast forward, Colombia is projected to provide and produce 44% of the world's cannabis supply. That's why we bet on the land. That's why we bet on the geographical area of Colombia. And right now, we're one of the 4 or 5 players there that really have all the licenses to import, export, cultivate, and grow with all genetics. So that separates us from any of the other players in the space, in my opinion.
Phil, do you have a question?
Yes, please help me a little more specifically on the investor. $2 million, how does that happen? Is that by buying stock on the pink sheets? Is that a loan?
Actually, the way that we have it set up is it would actually be a capital contribution through accredited investors. And with that comes a term sheet. Based on the volume or the amount of funds, you get special benefits. The higher the investment, the more warrants you would get. And we have that well laid out. And so if anybody wanted to reach out and inquire, we would work with them directly to provide them the necessary information. What that entails is a NDA, because once we provide the insider information, you're really limited on your ability to trade the stock on the open market because of your insider information for a set period of time.
Right. Right. So there's a lockup for a little while.
Yes, sir.
Which makes sense, because you really want a player who's going to play with you along the lines and not try to make a quick buck.
That's right. Yeah, we work really hard. We want to protect our investors. We don't want to have investors that are come in and harm the company or our long-term goals.
Sure.
But where we're at in our projections, I'm really excited about moving into the actual revenue phase. We worked extremely hard to be able to get to where we are now. We will have the largest extraction facility in South America. We will have the highest quality products that we're putting out. We will truly be able to work directly with the pharmaceutical industries, and that's why we'll be in Malta. We're working directly with the government of Malta, the medical centers over there, which I've been to and I've visited and I've spoken at and I've done things with. Malta is a wonderful place. We already have the infrastructure there to be able to produce products there. So it's a unique opportunity for us to get into the European Union. And for those that are not familiar, Malta is the smallest European Union country, and it has huge tax benefits. It's got the lowest tax rate of any European Union country, allowing us to really expand on that area.
And by the way, we do sign off soon, but you might want to stick around when we're offline. We can talk a little more.
Sure.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bill, for those questions. Where can our listeners and viewers reach out to you, Dr. Perego?
All of our contact information is on the website. It makes it super simple, oneworldproducts.com, and the investor relations page there. We have a wonderful IR firm. We have a wonderful gentleman, Tobias, works with us. He's from Germany, so we get a little European oversight there. He kind of helps us in the German side of things. And
our president is also German.
We just brought on �'𝐸𝐺 as our president, and I've got to throw just a couple of kudos out to him as well. He was the founder of 𝐸_𝐸𝐺𝐸, the electric vehicle truck company, which was purchased by DHL, and then he was the CEO of DHL Europe. He's also ran the EV line for Mercedes-Benz, Daimler Chrysler, and worked with Volkswagen as well on the C-level suite. And he views what we're doing as extremely exciting. And we've been working with him for 3 years, and he's just recently come on as our president to really push this forward as well.
Thank you with that. Alan, we have 1 minute to wrap up with prayer. Can you please go ahead and say prayer, and then everyone please stay online. I will be going offline and we can chat for a couple more minutes.
Yes, let's bow our heads and pray. Thank you so much for everyone's time. Dear God, thank you so much for this group and another week of CryptoCannaVerse show, where we have amazing people that come into our show to not only educate us, to help us grow and encourage us, and share their sources and knowledge into the space. So continue to provide, God. I know through all things in your control, you put people in the right time, the right place together. May we continue to focus on during this holiday season and year round, that Jesus Christ came on earth, our Lord, our Savior, to help us. So may we continue to protect this group, and also bless this group during the Christmas season as well as year round, and continue to help us in all things that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.